everyone. My name is Deneen White, and as you know, I get to talk to nearly every person that becomes a part of the VIPIGNITE family. And if you know anything about me, I think every one of our talent is awesome. I think that everyone has a lot of potential in them, and I think everyone is amazing. But that being said, over the past 6 to 8 months, I've really had the opportunity to work pretty closely with some of our talent, and I have seen something in them that I think is amazing. They have really dug deep into themselves, and they have uncovered their superpower. So, what I want to do is I wanted to create a team of people, and I call them my VIP Avengers. And today I am so excited to have Gina Smith. She is one of my VIP Avengers. Gina, thank you so much for being a part of this group.
Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this group.
Of course. When I was thinking of people to be an Avenger, I was like, of course, Gina Smith. Like literally, if you see my list, you were like number one. I'm like, okay, Gina, obviously.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've loved so much about watching you, especially over the last 6 months, is you've really dug deep. When I first met you, you were super quiet and shy, and something happened, and I don't even know what it is. So I would love for you to explain it to me. What was the tipping point from you going from that super shy girl to this person who's super vivacious and now living in New York City?
Okay, so my tipping point was probably around this time last year. I was at the LA event, I think we said, right? It was the LA
Yeah.
event.
Yep.
And that event kind of kicked everything into overdrive for me because I got to LA, I was around all these people who wanted to do the same thing as me, and the energy was amazing. And then I got to the actual event and networking part, and actually being in front of those important and successful people, I was like okay, I gotta step my game up. I can't, be this shy, scared girl anymore. And granted, I still was, because that was my tipping point, but I was still a little held back. And then just as time went on and on, I got in front of more people, and I just knew that this is really what I wanted to do for my entire career, for my life. Then I was like, okay, well, everything else has got to go down the drain, because if I keep that same mentality that I had before, then there was no way that I was going to be able to make this my full-time career.
Okay, that's awesome. And something I love is I feel like a lot of times you have to almost have two personalities. There's Gina Smith, and then there's the superhero. So what is your superhero name?
Okay, so this was hard to come up with. It took me forever, but I decided to use Aquamarine as my superhero name.
Okay, explain this to me.
Okay, so it's not like your typical Iron Man or Catwoman name. And that was a little harder for me to come up with, because I know that I wanted to make it something that really portrayed to me as a person, everything I'm doing in life, but still be that superhero alter ego name. So I went with Aquamarine because even though he's DC, I know this is a big thing, because oh my gosh, like there's that big line between Marvel and DC, and you're not supposed to cross them. But one of my favorite superheroes was always Aquaman, and I fell in love with the movie when it came out. And Aquaman is really about just bringing the land and the sea together, because that's what he stands for, and that's really what I want to do. And when you asked me to come up with the superhero name, you said to make it something that makes you feel alive. And I love the water. As most people or some people know, that whenever I was in college, I was in Florida, and I'm from Pennsylvania. So yeah. So I went to Florida, and I love the water, jet skiing, anything in the water. It just makes me feel alive. And then once I reach that point in my career, I really want to connect people and bring people together in the same kind of way that Aquaman brings together the land and the sea with his powers.
That is a beautiful story, because I think that the thing I love about Aquaman is there's a fierceness, but there's also this gentleness, and that's what I see when I whenever I picture you, like you're like this super quiet, unassuming person, but given the chance, you take control. And something I've seen too is that you're very much a connector. Like when I watch you among people, like you're not just with this group or this group, you're someone who you're always intermingling with a lot of people. So I think that you've chosen the perfect superhero.
Yeah. Hopefully good.
Awesome. No, it's absolutely fantastic, because I also remember a while back you did a photo shoot, and I remember seeing you in this yellow outfit. I don't remember the pose, but I saw this look in your eye and I was like, this woman's a superhero. And I think we talked about it, didn't we? Can
Yeah.
you talk to me a little bit about how you felt when you took that photo and then kind of associate it with your superhero?
Yeah, so that photo shoot was still one of my first photo shoots. It wasn't my first. Honestly, I think it might have been my second.
Mhm. I think it
And
was your second, but
yeah,
that doesn't matter. Tell us the story behind that pose.
yeah. And it was my second look, so I was more confident. And I knew that in the past, I was never really confident in my pictures, and it was always iffy. And I was just on edge on whether I liked them or not. So I was like, okay, I've really got to be comfortable and just kind of sink into the environment that I'm in and really embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put on this yellow tank top kind of outfit, and the photographer, was Tasha Cooney, had me in the middle of this street in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of like dodging cars, like looking to see if there's cars coming. Okay, let's go take some pictures and then wait for cars to pass. But just standing in the middle of that road, and obviously, like, you're really not supposed to stand in the middle of the road anyway. So like I just felt like, whew, like I'm in the middle of the road in Hollywood. And I just took that initiative and put my hands on my hips, and I started smiling, and I looked up just at like how beautiful everything was. And it was just this wave of confidence came over me, and I felt it. And then once I saw the pictures, I was like, yep, there it is. That's the one. And it made me feel like a superhero.
That's awesome. Everything that you're describing right there is the journey of the Avenger, because the thing I love about the Avengers is they're all very human. Yes, they have superpowers and they're superheroes, but they all have this humanity about them. And that's why I love what you described, because like when you first got into the street, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I could get hit by a car." But then all of a sudden you stood and you owned the moment. And even when you were telling the story, your posture changed and your whole demeanor changed. And you're like, yeah, this is who I am. I'm a superhero. So everything that you just described is a journey that anyone can take. But the thing is in order to take that journey, okay, was that easy for you? Where you're like, oh, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to California, and I don't know anyone. So talk a little bit about how your mindset had to overcome any negative talk that may have wanted to stop you from doing that.
So a big thing that always came to mind, especially whenever I was first starting out on this entire journey, was just fear, and the fear of being able to take the risks that I've taken and I'm going to continue to take, and just not knowing what's coming next. Because all through high school and everything, like, you know what you're going to do every day. You're going to get up, go to school, whatever you do after school, go to sleep, repeat. So not knowing what was next and not having everything planned out step by step scared the crap out of me. Like, it scared me so much.
Yeah.
And like deciding to go to LA, I've never been anywhere even close to the West Coast. I've always been Pennsylvania, Florida, like all just right on the East Coast. And I think a lot of it was just my passion for what I do. So if you have that passion in you, and if you know that it's really something you want to go for, that will eventually start to take over. But the initial overcoming that you have to go through is just overcoming that fear and embracing the uncertainty of what's going to happen along your journey.
That's awesome. So my goal is that everyone who listens to this podcast with you, to this show with you, wants to be an Avenger. Okay. I want everyone to say, you know what? I want to be Gina Smith. I want to be Aquamarine. Okay. That's my goal. I have big goals here, guys. So if you're listening, that's my goal. And you have to drop us a comment and let me know if I'm accomplishing my goal. So, Gina, if someone's like, okay, you know what? It can work for Gina, but I can't be aquamarine. Can you give them a piece of advice to say, listen, you can do this?
Yeah. So, my biggest piece of advice to anybody who just has self-doubts and doesn't have that confidence that they feel they need to go forth with what they want to do in life, you can do anything you put your mind to. I mean, you really can. And if you actually sit and evaluate yourself and you think about it and you really think about what's really stopping you from pursuing what you want to do, you'll come to realize that every problem with what you want to go forth with has a solution, and you can work around and figure things out to get to where you want to go. I mean, people do it all the time. I mean, a lot of celebrities were homeless before they were found and really made it to where they wanted to get in their career. So no matter where you come from or who you are or what you want to do, if you really put 100% effort into that and believe in yourself and work on your mindset and get over those fears and that uncertainty, then you're unstoppable.
You just described an Avenger in like a 1-minute clip. That was awesome. I love everything you just said there, Gina, just because like I've seen you take that journey yourself. And I'm sitting here thinking about all of the conversations that we had where you're like, oh, I know I can do this, because you've done so much work on your mind that got you to where you are. The skills to be an actress or a model or a musician, they're all things that you can learn. But once you harness your mind and you're like, you know what? This person was homeless and now look at them. I could do it too. Once you harness that, the world is literally your oyster. And I see you doing that right now. So let's talk about your move to New York City. How crazy, talk about the leap that you had to make to move from, first of all, sunny and warm Florida to cold New York City. And who does that in the middle of the winter? Aquamarine does. So tell me a little bit about that journey.
Okay, so that decision was the biggest decision out of any of the decisions that I've made so far. A big reason for that was because I was stuck between LA and New York, and also just the thought of me actually being on my own. Now I'm with Winnie, so I'm not completely on my own, but being somewhere that, like, college even on my college campus, they had everything for you. Like, all your food was, I could walk across the street and go to the gym and go get food, and I had my classes and a place to sleep. I didn't have to pay rent. Uh, just
I didn't pay rent.
a whole bunch of different factors that just scared me completely. For a little bit of time, and I think I talked to you a lot during this time.
Mm-hmm.
It almost set me backwards completely. Like, it was almost like a reset. All the fear that I had when I was first starting all of this, all of that just came rushing back, and it was a really hard point for me. But I just had to keep reminding myself that this is what I want, and if this is what I want, then I've got to take the necessary steps to accomplish my goals. And it was probably honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've never been happier. And it's weird because I am very stressed here, and there is so much uncertainty, and I've still got to go out and get a job. And I'm putting myself out for auditions, like auditions and auditions, and not getting anything back, and just continuing to put myself out there and doing all these other different things along with it. And it's stressful and it's chaos and it's everything combined, but I'm still having the most fun that I've ever had in my entire life. So that's how I know that I'm exactly where I need to be, because in school I was still having fun and I was still with my friends and we'd go to the beach and have fun days. And then there would just be days, and it could be 90 degrees out, and I would sit in my dorm and just sleep all day and not want to do anything and just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And so that's how I really know that this is exactly where I need to be because of everything that I've started to accomplish and am currently accomplishing. So that's exciting.
That's awesome. So tell us something really cool that's happened since you've been to New York City. You've been on set, right? Talk a little bit about being on set and what is that like?
Okay, so okay, Riverdale used to be like one of my favorite shows, and now they've made Katie Keene, which is like it's based off of Riverdale. It has the same character, Josie. Being on set, it's it's the most exhilarating feeling, even just as being a background, just seeing how everything works, and not even just being there for the acting, but being there to see how the camera crew works and everything that has to be put into it, and how much lighting they have to bring in, and how they hang the boom mics and keep them out of the camera's way, and just the different angles that they have to shoot the scene so many times to get all the angles without getting cameras. It's crazy, and everyone is doing and wants to do the same thing. So it makes the atmosphere that much better.
Awesome. Well, Gina, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. I know that you're very busy, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. But thank you so much for being willing to be a VIP Avenger. And anyone listening to this, I just want you to know, and Gina can attest to this too, that anyone listening to this can be a VIP Avenger because all it takes is being like Gina. Gina followed our framework. She went through all of our training. She follows our systems to a T. And now she's gone from living in a small town in Pennsylvania to a small town in Florida to New York City. So I just want to let you know that if Gina can do this, you want to be like Gina, you can too. So make sure that you drop us a comment, that you share this all over. And if you want to be a VIP Avenger, put in hashtag VIP Avenger so that we can see that you take this seriously. Gina, thank you so much for being on the show. I am so proud of you, and I can't wait to see what we Avengers do going forward.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun, and I hope that everything I had to say really helped somebody with their journey.
It's going to help a lot of people with their journey, and that is exactly why you are a VIP Avenger. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks.